So I'm looking at a new man here today. This is not
Oh,
the man I usually look at, staring across the void through the screen.
mm. What makes you say that?
You have a new PR, and that changes you as a person.
I would say the stretch changing you as a man might be um, a little much, but I'm a changed man, I guess.
First of all, I should backpedal. There are two types of people in this world, those who say PR and those who say PB. It's kind of
hmm
like strides versus striders, and everyone thinks that the other person's wrong, and it's just whatever you grew up with. So if we say PR, it means personal record. Others say PB, which is personal best. And I think that's more like imperial and metric. I think the rest of the world
Yeah.
says PB, and a lot of us say PR. So just to clarify.
Well, actually, the athletes I work with over the pond and north of the border, like Canada, they all say PB
Yeah.
and physio. Those are the two. They go to physio. We
Mm,
don't go to physio here in the States. We go to PT, right? I don't know if you've
yeah.
noticed that, but PB and physio, that seems to be a metric terminology.
Yes, certainly. Anyway, congratulations. You ran your half marathon after me telling you, honestly, I probably wouldn't. I mean, if you do it, I think my,
Yeah, I
my,
know.
my statement was, if you do, I don't judge you. I support it, but I might not do it if you're as rough as you were last week. You sounded terrible. And
hmm
that, whatever they heard was like a 900% reduction in throat clears and lung, like, uh,
Oh, because
phlegm
you got that out of
removal.
there, the audio.
Not all of it, but enough. So whatever they heard, you were
Yeah.
way worse throughout the week. So the fact that you A, raced, and B, ran 111 and felt, I'll let you get into it, but felt good doing it, says
hmm
that you are what you thought you could be on the roads, which is pretty effective.
Yeah. Yeah. There's actually like a ton to unbox with this race and the lead in and my thoughts afterwards. I, not that we need to like draw out like a race experience. In fact, like when I pull up like a social media post and somebody writes a novel about their race, I roll my eyes and I'm like, I don't need all this, right? Just show me a
Mhm.
picture of you and tell me how great you did in a sentence or two. And I kind of run under that philosophy, but like this for me, like feels like it's worth explaining a little more. Like I'm trying to process a little bit myself because the lead in didn't go great because I was
Mhm.
sick. My mind wasn't in it. I hadn't worked since I went to work on Monday, although I shouldn't have, and then took the remainder of the week off from going into the gym. I decided at 11:30 on Friday. I was sitting around like, well, I got my work done for the day. I don't know what else to do with myself. I don't feel great, but why wouldn't I just hook up my camper and start driving to Duluth? And it was like, and I like reluctantly like walked outside and like checked the camper tires and like looked at them like, everything looks fine, I guess. I guess I can hook this thing up now. And I just like, just it somehow ended up in my car driving north, like with my camper behind it.
Why?
And
Why did you have the
that's
camper?
how loose it was.
I was confused on that.
There was no hotel rooms. There was
Oh,
no
okay.
hotel rooms available that I could find. I was on wait lists and never got contacted. And I found one last minute cancellation about a half an hour from downtown Duluth in a campground. It was canceled that day. I was looking around, found it, and I was like, well, there's divine intervention if you believe in that. One left of like everywhere. And I was like,
Hmm.
book it. Fine, let's go. So I did. So I decided to go and I thought, what do I have to lose?
Correct.
If it goes poorly, who cares? My ego, although large at times, like if it didn't go well, I wasn't gonna negatively affect me because I knew my circumstance and I thought it would be good to get the experience and go anyways. And if I woke up race morning and wasn't feel like I felt even worse, I had no problem literally staying at the camper, packing up and coming back home. Like I was at peace with it already. So
Hmm.
which isn't good for mindset because usually you want to go to a start line and be ready to rip heads off. And I was like, I'm just happy to be here, I guess. I think
There's something to be said,
so. It was
though,
interesting.
for not having that level of anxiety, especially in a long
There
race
was none.
where relaxation, the first few miles, is paramount. There's something to be said for that.
Mm-hmm. I agree. That's why you always, right? You book a race trip on a Thursday night for Saturday, like a Saturday race, because you'd have no anxiety, no stress. That was like your thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, the
Deciding last minute.
longer I either had to do it months out or last minute. That like the final 2 weeks started just to eat at me, and I was a bundle of nerves, and it was a coping mechanism for sure. But as soon as the race is close
Yeah.
enough, and you have to get ready and pack and get your flight ready and then that takes over. That's forefront, and then you arrive
Right.
late and you just go to bed and not wake up. Or it's here. Let's start my warm up. Get to work. It was absolutely a coping mechanism.
But it worked.
Yeah, fairly well.
Mm-hmm.
There's freedom in that.
Yeah, there was no pressure. So I don't know where there's freedom with it. And I don't really know where to start with it other than I didn't reach any of my stretch goals. I'm going to start with that. So I thought maybe I could run under an hour 10. And now I know I can run under an hour 10, which for me was a big confidence booster. I wanted to run a top 10 time for the Masters of all time. Well, I would have fallen like 30 or 40 seconds short of making the list, but I got beat by 3 other 40-plussers.
Yeah.
So there's a podium and awards there. I didn't make anything. I didn't land on the podium. I thought 111 will be good enough. It was good enough the last X amount of years. I'm going to podium in my age group at grandma's. Nope, 4th by like 25 seconds. And the other 3 that beat me were 2 guys from Virginia and a guy from Colorado Springs. 2 guys ran 108 high, and then another guy ran 110 high. Right. So that top 10 list got bumped forward anyways with those 2 guys that ran 108. So I didn't make that. And then I think I said I wanted to win for the Masters, which I clearly didn't do. So none of them happened, yet I'm still leaving somewhat satisfied. So it's interesting to not reach your goals, but then like still leave and be like, you know what? I did what I could.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you make of that, but I missed on all accounts.
Well, before we get into other things, what I make of it, we've been talking track recently because the Olympic trials are happening and the Olympics is coming up. Nationals just happened a few weeks ago. We've been talking times a lot, and everything you just talked about there was time and position, which excludes a vast majority of our audience, those who don't want to think about time or position. Just they want to get to the finish line, not necessarily faster. However, I want to say that what people ask sometimes or say, like, I didn't run in college, so I'm behind you guys on whatever. And it's like, that's part, yeah, sure. I can get behind that. You may have fresher legs or whatever. But one thing college running gets you comfortable with is A, talking about times with no strings attached, because that's just a currency in college, and B, getting beat by very fast people. There are very few people that go through the collegiate ranks and win every race. It's very, very, very rare. Like you don't have some unbeaten streak in tech that going up there and getting beaten by 3 masters or not hitting your stretch time or whatever was going to shatter like your world. College running gets you used to just getting your butt kicked often and having times thrown in your face daily. And so I know that can come off as harsh to some people, but just to reiterate that this is like a chef talking about spices or burning a dish. Like this just happens. It's happened our entire life, and that's okay for us.
Well, and the interesting thing about all of this is it's all relative, first of all, which is part of why I'm having like this midlife running crisis after this race. Like I took 76th and I got it handed to me by so many guys that will be beyond anything I will ever be as a runner. Granted, now all but 3 were younger than me. And actually the 3 guys that beat me were all 40, not 41. So I guess they were all younger than me. But nonetheless, it's like there are so many levels to everything. The guy who ran an hour flat and change beat me by 11 minutes. He ran 4:20 something pace for a half marathon. Like, I don't care what you put in my body and however illegal things I would need to take to even come close, I'm never going to be that. And
Right.
so it's just like, and some of you are sitting there at home thinking, I'm never going to run a 1:11.5. And it's just like, trust me, it goes all the way back to a 4-hour half marathoner. We all think this, like, there's always the next to look to, right? Which was very humbling to go out and feel like you did well. And then I looked at the results and I was like, 76th, 79th, if you include the women. I got beat by 3 women. Like, okay, like, keep it in check, right? We all should keep it in check, is what I'm saying.
It's all relative. Fast is only subjective. What's fast to one is slow to another.
Totally.
And we had this weekend. The kids got into watching the Olympic trials with Lisa and I. And Ayla kept asking,
Love it.
Dad, could you do that? Dad, could you do that? And finally I paused it and I said, listen, I'm not mad at you, but I just keep giving you the same answer. So I want to explain this. If I could do any of this, I would be out there doing it. If there was any sport I could do at an Olympic trials level, Ayla, trust me, I would be out there doing it, but they're so much better than me. And it's hard for your child to wrap their mind around that someone could be faster or stronger than you. And I said, here, I'm going to put it in perspective for you. Every single woman you see on the screen here, if I was allowed to compete in their division, would beat me. There is one event, maybe 2, that if you gave me, let's say, 3 months to prepare for, even make it 6 years, I don't care. There's one event, maybe 2, that I could make the U.S. women's Olympic team on. Of all the events, there's only one for sure I could. That'd be the 800. And if you gave me a year, depending on if it was a slow race, I could maybe make the 15. Maybe, but only if it came down to a sit and kick. So like there's just so many levels to it that I could make the women's Olympic team in maybe one event. That's just how good everyone is, and it doesn't change me at all. But it's funny to have to explain that to your kids there, that no, every person you see here could just give it to me in their sleep and not even notice I was in the same race as them.
And other people's results don't take away from your success.
No,
and that's what
not
people
one bit.
forget sometimes. Watching somebody else crush it doesn't make you inferior. It shouldn't take away from your satisfaction with your own result. You should be walking around with as much pride as if you were the one who crossed the finish line first, if you attained what you're shooting for. And not that that's a consolation way to feel. I feel like that is genuinely true. Well, what's interesting too, not to get too sidetracked, but watching the trials, I caught up last night in bed. I had a busy weekend and I stayed up to like midnight watching everything. It's like, Evan Jagger.
Yeah.
Like in the twilight of his career, he's like 35. He's like, look at him. Good for him. Still chasing after it at 35. And Eric Holt at 34. He is an older athlete, and this could be his last run at it. It's like 34, 35. In the twilight of your career, you're considered old. It's kind of wild to me.
It is.
I think.
Anyways. It is. Last year, Kirk, I ran a mile. I ran a road mile, and I've talked about it on here. And I outkicked 2 college kids, young college kids, for the win. And I ran 4:32. And I was very happy with that. That's only 10 seconds off, 11 seconds off my post-collegiate best. Maybe 12 seconds off. 4:32, I'm happy with that. And then this weekend at your half marathon, someone did that 13 straight miles, but faster. Like it's that result for them does not change the fact that I'm proud of 4:32. The fact that it's going to take a sub 4-minute 1500 to make the women's team, which is the equivalent of a 4:20 mile or faster, or 18. The fact that they're 12 seconds faster than the race I was really proud of doesn't change the fact that I'm really proud of my race. And the people, I think it's worth driving home again that other people's results doesn't change whether you did poorly or not, unless you're trying to go for the Olympic trials, right? Unless they are your direct competition.
Right.
No one else has any bearing over your results.
Do you, on the official Grandma's website with your results, they give you an age graded time? Like you can click on your age graded time. I don't know what the calculation is like on
There's
that,
an official,
but it gave me an age graded time of 108 and change or something, because it gave me like 3 minutes or 2.5 minutes for my age. And kind of bizarre. It seems like a lot.
Is that in your
Instagram
profile already?
Yeah, just scoop that one up. Yeah, just going to claim that as my time. Yeah, that seems generous. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. You want to get into it?
Have you ever run races before we move on with age graded scoring for the actual race?
No, that's a thing, huh?
Yeah. So there are officially accepted conversion charts, and there are races where the race results are determined by that. I did one 2 summers ago, I want to say. It was what would that have been? Like an 18-mile trail race, maybe 16-mile trail race. And I crossed the line first.
Sure.
And took third. Because a 47-year-old gentleman beat me and I want to say like a 61-year-old woman beat me. Because the age and gender rankings and the charts averaged it out. I lost by like 21 seconds. And it made for a really interesting race because everyone else out there was just hammering, knowing it was like a time trial race where everyone was rewarded for the effort they put in. And how accurate it is, well, it's based upon the assumption that everyone ages biologically the same, which isn't the case, but it gives a good idea for what is that worth. And I think it's cool. I like it.
I've never seen that put on a result of mine before, so I thought it was interesting. But this was so I'll walk you guys through the week and then the race. So I felt like real junk last week. Only had a fever for one day, had the chills pretty much all week, was hawking up a bunch of green stuff. I felt really, really sick. Headaches, low energy. NyQuil'd myself to sleep every single night. But what I did was I ended up hitting every workout all week. I said either I'm going to show up and race like I want, or I'm not pivoting. But what I'm going to do is reset my expectations for the workout. So instead of maybe a 10-mile recovery run early in the week, I went for 8, and I ran 40 seconds per mile slower. I just said, you just get a little time in, show up, do that. Shouldn't have done that probably in hindsight. Next day was a quality day for the week. I slowed the pace down, did it 2 less reps than normal, but just enough to touch systems, right? Like, okay, like let my body keep working. Took an off day Thursday, cut the grass. I counted that as my workout, picked sticks up in the yard. I thought that was a good way to move my body. And then a little shakeout run on Friday. And I'm waking up with a horrible sore throat every day. I got that feeling in my chest, like the drainage down the back of my throat. But I'm sleeping in. I'm NyQuiling and I'm going to bed. And that was helpful. And then I went for my shakeout run on Friday from home. I said, I'm just going to run and see how it feels. And for the first time all week, my heart rate wasn't like rising at my low 7-minute, like easy recovery run pace. It was like kind of where it should be. And even though I didn't feel good, I was like, okay, well, it's not drifting right now like it was earlier in the week. And I feel better than I did the day before. And I said, if I traject the same way, I could show up tomorrow even feeling a little better. At this point, my right ear is completely plugged. I can't hear anything out of my right ear. It's fully stuffed, and my left ear is on the way. Like my right ear's popping, and you know how that is when you're sick. So my right ear's gone. Can't hear. I feel like I'm in a tunnel. But anyway, so that was the lead in. We had no plans this weekend other than to race, and then I was supposed to have a wedding the night of grandma's. So I had to drive back and go to a wedding immediately after arriving back home. But anyways, so the race starts at 6 a.m. It's a point-to-point, which means you have to get bus shuttled, and the bus shuttle starts at 4:30 in the morning. You get on the bus, they drive you 25 minutes to the race start. There's all this walking to get to the buses. There's all the walking to get to the race start. It's pitch black out still. So my alarm went off at 3:15 on Saturday morning. I debated 3 o'clock. By the time you wake up, brush your teeth, like I got in the truck and drove to the start, but then there's already a line of cars and there's the parking ramp and it's a cluster. So I said, I'm going to get there at 4 to 4:15. And so I beat it. I beat it just barely. Still like I'm coughing. I'm like, what am I doing? I can't hear to my right ear at all. I'm like, I don't even know how I feel yet. Like I'm just disoriented kind of.
That is the earliest.
I feel like you're dreaming.
That is the earliest alarm that I would have ever set if I were you. I've never set one before 4 a.m. for a race.
Me either. But
That's really
we're
early.
staying half an hour outside of the city
I get it.
in a campground. Yeah. And I just didn't want to deal. I'd never done grandmas before. And overall, by the way, grandmas, first of all, there were more foreigners there than locals. Like, I'm pretty sure out of the 75 people that beat me, I don't know how many Minnesotans, probably less than people. And they're from everywhere, other countries. The stacked field is unbelievable. And the elite crowd, which I didn't get into because I didn't have official halftime, they get their own special area at the start line, and their bottles filled with their names on them, and everything's their own private area. And I should like look at it longingly at the start line, being like, oh, really, that would have been really nice to have. But anyways, so we bus up, get my coffee, and I'm still like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. There's no bag drop, so I wore old pants and a jacket that was ruined because I took it off and left it at the start line. They don't bring your stuff back if you're a normal person, which I was in the normal person heat. Get there and you walk a third of a mile to the start line. And then I realized at that moment how well organized this thing is. Like, there are more porta potties than I've ever seen needed at anything. The water availability, the volunteers, everything is so seamless at this event. It was the most impressive event I have attended from like a logistical standpoint. The buses ran cleanly. Every 15 seconds, a new bus was taken off with people and getting other ones. There was no stress or hassle. You worry about it, but then you get there and like grandmas took care of it. Like, this thing was unbelievable. The water stops, everything was just, the volunteers, unbelievable, impeccably marked. Just such clean terrain. Everything was beautiful. Anyways. Where should I go with this? So I get my coffee in me. I walk in. I'm all but okay.
This is always a stressor for people when you have to get bused to a start line. I saw you getting on the bus. You already had your race kit on. You already had your Alpha Flies on, which is worst case scenario. You don't want to put those puppies on until the last minute.
It is.
But
I had no choice.
I know, no choice. You do what you got to do. Was there ample time and space to warm up once you were bused there? Or did you have to have that done prior to the bus?
That was my biggest concern, because I'm in Corral 1 and I wanted to be right behind the pros. Now I'll be in the Pro Wave next year. My time will qualify me. I'm going to get all the royal treatment. It's going to be great. But the corrals are so packed. There's nowhere to warm up.
Correct.
At all. Until when everything's set up, they take all the tape down and you can run as far on the course as you want. They open it up and you can go warm up on course. So they open it up and there is hundreds of people. It's amazingly clean. And there's portals all along. Like, you could go every 100 yards, there's a set of portals. Like, you look for race morning bathrooms. You start to run, you're like, oh, I might have to go a little. Like, no, there's everything you need right there. No problem. So yeah, you could run on course forward to warm up. So that's what everybody did. It was great. At this time, like, my coffee's starting to kick in. I'm like, okay, like, maybe, I don't know, like, I'm here now, so I have to get back. I cornered myself into this, and like, my body is like functioning all right. I'm running, and I'm running 6:40 pace in warm up, and it's feeling like nothing. I'm doing my pickups, and I'm hitting 4:30 pace for 30 seconds, and I'm like, that's not right. Like, I'm like, why is it just so easy today? And when that happens, it's usually a really bad race.
Right.
Like, it shouldn't feel like this, but it did. And I'm watching everybody else in their little split shorts, and they're looking so fit. And I'm the elite corral I'm running in and by it, and saw a few people I recognize there. But at this point, I'm like, okay, I am going to take Brakken's advice. If I race, I'm going to start conservative. Forget about everybody else. Like, I can't go out on pace the way I'm feeling. And so the gun goes off. I started in like row 3, I think, with the pros. Everybody had their names on their name tags but me, so I think I started a little too far forward. I think I was in front of Corral 1. I was surrounded by people with, official stuff on, so whoops. And maybe 30 people, 40 people go by me in the first 200 meters. And I'm just like, just let them do their thing. It's fine.
Good.
You get running.
Go past people to catch.
Go past. Well, I will tell you that I didn't get passed by a single person after that, the entire race. I think I passed, I don't know, 30, 40 people after mile 1. But, and we get running, and I'm like, oh my God. I look down, it's like 5:17, 5:19. I'm running, and there's, I mean, right in front of me is, oh my goodness. What's the Olympian's name from Minnesota? It's slipping my mind.
I want to say Norwood. It's not Norwood, but it's a wood thing, right?
Gosh.
Linwood?
Dakota.
Dakota
Yeah.
Lindworm.
And she's right there with a group of...
There's a bunch of aging
Dakota
men
Lindworm.
in the morning here trying to work our way through our words.
So Dakota Lindworm. Anyways, and I'm like, okay, well, I look down and I'm like, all right, I am very relaxed. And I'm hearing everybody like breathing around me. Like, I forget how intense road racing is in this. There's no headphones. And all you hear are super shoes just slap, 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 slap. Like, I realize how loud super shoes are now.
So loud.
Oh my God. It sounded like a herd of horses running, just slap, slap, slap. And some people really slapping the pavement. I thought I sounded quiet. And I just hear everybody like right off the gates. And I'm like breathing through my nose. Like, I'm like, I am not trying at all right now. Just enjoy this for now, Kirk, because it's going to end. We come through the first mile in like 5:22 or something. And I was like, that felt easy. Just stay here. Don't do anything. Just stay put. Let people do their thing. I didn't race at all. Then we come through and it's like 5:24, 5:23 the next one. And I said, get to 6 miles and stay as relaxed as possible. And then you can start to press if you're still feeling good. Well, we click along and I'm like, this is easy. I'm not racing. I'm out here doing a workout. And that continued through 8 miles where I for the first time had to start engaging. We hit a couple hills and I had to work to run 5:29 and 5:30. I had to surge to be like, don't let it slip. Don't let it slip. And it tipped me a little. And then I said, I'm ready to roll. Like, I think I can close in 5:0s, 5 flat. I think I can run. I was feeling so good. And I was starting to roll people. There was nothing, like, everything was working. I can't explain it. I didn't take any medicine that morning. I didn't take any ibuprofen to like cover anything. I just said, go give what you have. Slight tailwind. It was cool conditions, so that helped. And with like 5 miles to go, I'm like, I kind of feel like I got a side cramp coming on. I could feel it was getting tight in my right side. And I'm like, just kind of like, be aware of that. Be aware of that. I'm slowly picking some people off still. And then I'm like, it's time to go. And when I decided it was time to go, my side cramp hit full on. And it was like one of those where I couldn't get a full breath. It was just hit at the wrong time. And I had to do everything I could to keep pacing. Well, my legs felt great. Everything was working. And I cramped out. And I held on to the same pacing with notably more effort. And I really think I could have pounded home. And I got done finishing like I got done with a tempo run. And
wow.
Part of that makes me think, yeah, my heart rate data tells me that that's what I did. I've done workouts that I've held a higher heart rate for twice as long. I was so scared of blowing up because I was sick, which was the right move, that I was conservative and finished feeling like really good. And so you can make of that what you will. I think I followed my process and the taper or deload worked. Like, I think I have that pretty well down with my body. I reset expectations during the week and rejig some of my workouts, but you don't know unless you still show up. And what's the worst that happens? It goes bad and you show up and try again, or you surprise yourself, and surprised myself. So I think it was like 5:26 or 5:27 pace when it's all said and done. And I know I can run sub 110. I need an opportunity to do it, but it was a confidence boosting day. That's for sure.
Well, it's so cool to hear. And it was fun to track you and see it working. And when people see even pacing pretty much the whole way, which is pretty much what you had, it sometimes looks easy, but what that means is that your effort keeps picking up in order to keep the pace the same generally. But to hear that you felt good is really encouraging. So I have 2 questions. First of all,
Mhm.
what would have happened had you been less conservative? Let's say you go out a little faster and run closer to 70 pace than 71. What do you think happens? And I'm not leading you into anything. That's really curious. What would have happened?
I would have side cramped earlier, and
You
it
think
probably
so?
would have went worse. I I was on meds, I was on antibiotics. I don't know. I don't side cramp. I haven't done that in years. So I think it would have I would have had to reach a little earlier, and maybe it would have ultimately maybe ended in the same place. But if it wasn't for the side cramp and I knew I was going to have a good day, I could have run under an hour 10.
That
And
day.
I think if I went out, there was groups. I do. There were groups. There was racing. You said if you could get on a group that's running 520s, just do it and
Mhm.
roll. There were groups doing that, and I let them go. They were 5 seconds ahead after mile 1, and then 10 seconds ahead after mile 2. And I watched the pack work together, and I ran in mostly no man's land, just sticking to my plan, just checking my
Okay.
watch, saying, "Don't go too fast yet. Let them go."
Yeah.
So I do believe it was possible. Yeah.
Do you have any regrets with that?
What's your second question? No, I don't. I don't have any regrets with it. I mean, what more could I have asked? I
Right.
didn't even know if I was going to race, and I showed up, and my body did what it was told. So
Mm-hmm.
it's confusing, to be honest, because to go from feeling so bad all week to then it melting away on race day, I don't know if that's a testament to the training, if it's a mindset, if it's I literally closed my eyes and threw a dart at the dartboard and got lucky, if it's the power of race day, if it's the taper doing its thing, no matter if I was sick or not. Like, I can't wrap my head around why I showed up and felt good. No, I don't know.
Yeah.
The
Well,
meds
there's no
kicking
such
in
thing as
in
luck in
time.
long distance running. Outside of someone in
Yeah, it's
front of
fair.
you, like doing something wrong. Like you can catch a lucky break from a competitor, but your body can't get lucky for 13 miles in a row. So we can remove that one, but the rest,
Yep.
yeah. So the question 2 is, and I'm sure you've thought about this, maybe even during. So what does this mean for a marathon? What if you had gone out at 5:30? How
Super
many
marathon
miles could
curious
you
right
have
now.
run at 5:30 before it got bad, or 5:35? Like what could you have run in a marathon right then? I know you thought
I think
about
I
it.
could have. I've thought about it a lot. I think I could have run 5:35 conservatively and been comfortable through 18 and then started to work. Maybe I would imagine.
Yeah.
And then I looked. I said, "What was the Masters winner?" And the Masters winner was 2:28 and change. And I started doing math, and I was like, "I think I could have won the Masters marathon
What is that?
if
Is
I
that
was properly, if I had
5:32?
enough durability." 2:28? No,
What is it?
2:30 is 5:44 pace. 2:30 on the
Okay,
head
so
is
like
5:44
5:38
pace.
maybe.
Right. It's somewhere in that range, upper 5:30s. Yeah.
Okay.
So then I started thinking about that. But all I know is we spent a lot of years chasing adventure, OCR, trails, and I still am, and I still will, especially on the trails. There is something that I forgot about chasing metrics, and I let go of it for years after college, right? It was
Mhm.
so nice not to chase metrics. Returning to it is so satisfyingly objective and tweaking and threading the needle. And I know you non-road runners who chase adventure and OCR, which is where this podcast started, like the unappeal of running on the roads. I think everybody, if you begin to enjoy the process, like it's an objective measure of performance improvement, if that excites you. And it's like, all I want to do right now is go like run a local 5K on the roads now and start chasing times and go hit another half. Like all the local trail races, I've got the Masters records on them. I don't know what I'm chasing locally anymore. So now I'm like, all right, what's next? And so it's leaving me like almost like wanting to dive into the road scene more,
Yeah.
which is interesting for me, as you know.
So if I had a
So
third
I might.
question, it would instantly go to shoes. You ran
Mhm.
into your alphas, alpha
Yeah.
ones, and as far as I know, this is the farthest you ever raced in those shoes. You've run in them longer, but
Yep.
aggressive stride, unbroken stride, this is the longest you've gone. How did they do for you?
Yep. Fantastic. That shoe is so money. So butter.
Yeah.
My quads are sore as heck. I would never expected my quads to be what's sore, but that's all that feels the effort. I've never been sore in my quads from road running. It doesn't even make sense to me. So I'm confused what that's about a little bit. After like a road race, there wasn't huge downhills or uphills, right? It was a lot of shoes. So there were a lot of Alpha 3s. Probably the most dominant shoe there was Alpha 3s.
Where do they all
Next
find
to
that
that
shoe
would be
before it's sold out?
And the 2s. I mean, there are a lot of 2s and a lot of 3s. Second shoe would have been the Asics, what is it, Metaspeed Sky Paris. A lot of that shoe out there. And then from there, I would say the Vaporflies and the Endorphin Pros tied for the next shoe. I didn't see anybody with the Gen 1 Alphas. I felt like an OG with my Gen 1 Alphas. And I didn't see any of those, but yeah. So I would say if you are, whether you live locally or not, this race needs to be put on your radar. It's a point to point. It's a I think the marathon's a net negative 120 feet of gain. So could you call that downhill? It's like 5 feet a mile or not even something, it's nothing, but
right.
It's
I believe there's
course.
a section of the marathon, like 20 to 23 or something is uphill. And then it finishes more downhill, but it's net negative, but it's got it kills you.
And that's what we experience in the half is there's 2 notable hills in the last like 4 miles of the half, which we run the second half of the marathon course. I was like, this course is great. It's great. It's flat, if not a little downhill. And then they drop the half off at the halfway point of the marathon. So we all run.
Gotcha.
Anyways, yes, there are some hills on there. If you're not feeling good, they will ruin your race, those hills. And it's not like a little one. It's like a quarter-mile hill. That's 5% grade, like one that can suck the life out of you a little bit. But anyways, if you're looking for a next race, very impressed with Grandma's. The vendor thing the day before is kind of a zoo. There's so many people at it, but that's all major marathons. It has the major marathon feel with the small town charm. And every little thing in touch point is taken care of. Logistically, it was fantastic. If you want to run fast, but not feel like, I ran a net negative 500-foot marathon, like, do those really count? I don't know. This one does, and it's USATF legit. And I don't know how many people were there, 30,000 over the weekend or so. So I would just highly encourage, entertain this event. Early June, you have all your spring training that can build up to this. Usually, generally good weather. No sharp turns or very few, right? They just let you run on this beautiful road that goes along Lake Superior. And, you're not running through skyscrapers and buildings. You're running through like beautiful woods and a view of the lake every once in a while. And just with a bunch of people out there ripping. So I was impressed.
If I had to run a road half marathon,
you should do it.
That'd be one I would consider.
Yeah.
I still have no interest.
So takeaways,
no interest.
No, right.
No.
Well, the thing is, I think about those longer events, if they go well, half marathon and longer, you have this whole period of time in the race in which you're actually comfortable. Even in a half, you're allowed to be comfortable for 4 miles, 6 miles, even if you nail it, probably. And in a marathon, you're allowed to be comfortable for 8 to 12 before you start really engaging. And so, if it's a good day for you, it's not that scary. The problem is if it's not your best day, how early in the race do you need to engage and how long do you need to press versus how long can you stay asleep before you have to press or choose to press? They're very different things. So I think the half marathon and marathon aren't very scary if you know it's going to be a good day. They're terrifying if you're not sure or it goes south.
Yeah.
Then it's over. Yeah. Whereas a 5K is just from the gun with purpose. Your first stride is more aggressive with purpose, right? You know that's going to hurt really quickly. The half and the full, you get to kind of work into it a little bit,
right?
Which is nice. So my only takeaways from the race is that hill training is a must still. I am on my incline trainer every week doing 15 to 30% work. For those of you at home who are running flat and fast, you are missing out if you are not doing your incline work. It makes flat, steady tempo type running just less costly. I can't state it enough how important the incline work is. If you could combine incline uphill threshold work with flat, fast efficiency work, I think that's the perfect combination. Lather in one nice, steady, easy long run every week on top of that, and I feel like that recipe works for me, and I think it would work for a lot of people. A flat, fast session, an uphill, more threshold-based session, and then a nice long run as an end cap. I think that is a really good formula. I think after all these years, I've finally dialed in the 2 weeks leading into a race. I think I understand how my body responds now. And so I haven't misfired in a long time, showing up and being like, well, not my day. It's interesting. It takes a long time to get dialed in there. So I think I have that right. And then I think the last thing is deciding what I want to do next. Like, I don't know how many years I have left of still trying to really chase like master stuff. So like, what should I do next? I don't know. I have to think about that, but I'm already looking at other road races. I can tell you that. But from your perspective, what do you think I should do?
With this year, I think you either target the Masters 5K US Championships or you target a fall marathon. Every year that Masters 5K Championship is 1 in 15 low. And every year someone pops a great
on the
fall.
roads.
Yeah, on the roads. And every year someone pops a good fall marathon after we just talked about having a hot summer of grindy training. I think one of those two is your sweet spot. You either go shorter and faster now that you've got this base, or you go longer and slower. I think that's where you go from here.
Yeah. Or you don't show up to another half in, let's say, September, which there is one here in town, City of Lakes. It's a big half. And go give it another crack.
True.
That one has a couple more hills in it, though. But majorly flat. So we will see.
So I'm going to ask you
I don't know what else
questions.
I got for the race. Oh, okay.
I'm going to ask you some questions that I would ask athletes that I work with after races. And the first is, what type of training or specific workouts were you thankful you had done on the course or right after? Oftentimes in longer races, you have time to think like, oh, I'm so glad I did blank. What could you feel out there or afterwards that worked?
It's funny, both ends of the spectrum. So 3-2 float, for sure. 3-2 float for an hour, 3 minutes on, 2 minutes float. How do you feel that? I had decisions to make. I could surge to make sure my pace didn't slip going up a hill and then recover afterwards by only backing off slightly, for example. And suddenly, so teaching you speed play within your range of pacing, astronomically important. And the 3-2 float workout forces you to work while you're tired, but never truly recover. And so the back half of the 3-2 float's just like, you're ready for anything. So that one. The other end was in the last lead up. I hit some 8s pretty hard on the track. I hit some quarters pretty hard at the track, and a new stride absolutely became available to me. And 520s felt, I don't mean to be a jerk, but easy. 520s felt easy, not costly at all. And that only came to me right in time. That sharpening the pointy end of the spear, those workouts were tough in the moment, but gosh, did they help. So those come to mind right away. But all that's paired with so many threshold works and 3-mile repeats and, these big workouts, 4x2 miles, like all that stuff laid the foundation. But the ones that, that's the meat and potatoes of it all. But the ones that I think really moved the needle when it came to actual race, like race day, like that last 5% would be like the float style and then the overspeed work.
Okay. If you had to do this again, what would you do more of in training?
I would do more or less. I would do longer tempos. I would do more steady state tempos at or sub at my goal marathon pace. I would say or half marathon. Let's go out and run 8 today. I don't know if I'd go further than that, but I would really try to find out what that felt like early, though, like 4, 6, 8 weeks out. And I probably would have had to reach for it quite a bit. And I probably would have been beyond threshold towards the end. But I think knowing it, like drawing that pacing out longer in a training session instead of dipping into it and then out of it, into it, then out of it, I think I would benefit from more long work still. But maybe saying screw threshold, like, I don't know if I need to stay in like, don't worry about my heart rate. Like, let's just get my body comfortable at pacing, no matter what the cost, I think would have been helpful for me. Which sense. I did. I accomplished that by my, 4x2 miles or 3x3 miles or whatever it was. But I think drawing that out would have been beneficial.
It makes sense. You said your quads are most sore?
And I would say, yeah. And I don't know if I would have benefited from more long runs. I mean, I was only going 16 for my long runs. I could have bumped up to 18, but I had plenty of durability. That wasn't an issue. I don't think I need to go further than 16 and half marathon training. I don't think it's necessary if it's combined with big quality sessions on the other days. So durability wasn't a problem.
Well, I'm impressed.
That's it.
I told you I thought 110 to 113, 114 was your window, and you were at the low end of that.
Yeah. And for those of you OCR people who like pictures, by the way, everybody shows up to a Spartan race to say get their photo with their shirt off, put on their Instagram or their Bumble. Do a great job of taking photos at these things too. So you got a whole 46 of them. My goodness, what are we going to do with 46 of them? It's overkill. So I think that's some icing on the cake for those of you who want the next profile pic.
Well, one of them is going to be the episode art.
We don't need to talk about this. Oh, I could send one over. Do we want to pivot? I mean, I could talk in circles about it, but I think we've done enough. I think the takeaways are like, give yourself the opportunity to be great, meaning like, don't count yourself out if it's within reason. Like, you can show up and try. You don't hang on your result. If it's not your day, it's not your day, but you're not going to know if you don't show up. And of course, if there was a fever involved or there was something more severe, like, yeah, maybe we don't. It's not worth the risk. Like, I was convinced all week I wasn't going. I told Jess on Thursday I'm not in. But like, I would be sitting here just wondering and a bit bummed if I didn't. And like, it's okay to have a bad race. Bad races don't define you, neither do good ones really. And so like, just remind yourself, like, give yourself the chance. Especially if your training had gone well up to that point, which mine did. Like, if illness pops up, like, you got to show up as long as it's within reason. And I think that's really, I taught myself that. In fact, you remember, this was before the Las Vegas race, 2017 or 18. And I came down with I woke up the morning to get on my flight and I felt horrible. I don't know if you recall, I called you. I don't know if you were coaching me then still, but I was like, what do I do? And you told me, get on the plane and go. Get on the plane. You don't know what's going to happen. You said, go race. And I felt bad. Like it had hit me. And you know what happened? I went out there and I pulled it off and had a great race and was glad I went. And I think that was one of the first times I ever even considered racing when I was sick. And so I think it's worth the crack. Do you remember that conversation? Probably not.
I think I was in Lake Geneva at the time. And if I'm remembering correctly, you were like, I have to leave in the next 40 minutes to get, or something like that, to get to the flight. Am I remember that correctly?
Yeah, it was like 7:30 in the morning. Like, I got to go now. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You said, don't be a keyword. Get on the flight. Go. That's exactly what you said.
You just never know. You know that not showing up guarantees you don't PR. And that's about all you know. Outside of that,
yeah,
you never know. 1 second here.
What are you looking at? Uh-oh.
Okay. This is can't be made up, Kirk. I just heard a very passionate moan come from the parking lot. And I look outside in our city hall, the what would you call it? The public area that the public can go to in City Hall. I'm doing a terrible job. There's a word for it. Doesn't matter. It doesn't open till 11:30 on these days. You can't go inside and like see a clerk until 11:30. So a lot of the senior citizens of the town who don't make online payments or don't trust anything, they come up in person to make their payments or to talk to people. So they're crowded around outside and they're all staring over at a car. And and there's a person in there, only one person. There's a man in there who appears to be scrambling with his phone and his car. And what appears to have happened is his phone connected to his Bluetooth, and the last playing thing on his device was some very passionate porn. And you know how you can hear people when they're on their Bluetooth through their speakers? You can hear it through the car in parking lots and stuff. It's actually very loud. Yeah. Just a very loud moan came out of his car. And all these senior citizens are staring at this guy. So what I want to know now is, does he get out of the car and join the line? Or does he just pull right out of the parking lot and leave and say, whatever this is, it can wait?
That guy should go leave and come back.
You should leave, but
that guy needs to go get a sandwich, ice himself down. And that had to be loud. If you could hear that in your house with your headphones on.
Yeah, I mean, I have double windows right in front of me, so whenever cars pull up with music playing, I hear it. Like the windows rattle with the bass, and when they're on speakerphone, I always hear the conversation. It's weird how well that passes through, but this was shocking. It was not a noise I anticipated hearing at this moment. This is a first for me. I'm very excited. Titillated even.
That's a good word to use to describe that.
Thank you.
Okay, so what do we want to talk about? Anything else today? Do we want to dive into a couple Q&As that we have left over? Do we want to put any bow ties on anything?
Here, on this very important, very highbrow scrap of paper here.
Yeah. What does that note say?
Well, I don't want to go deep dive into Q&As right now. We're already 50 minutes in. But I do think there's one important takeaway here. And there's a theme in a few of my athletes. I don't like saying that. A few of the athletes I work with are going to feel personally called out over this. And that's okay. I'm not doing this to be a jerk. I'm not naming names. But I don't want to say it's a trend, but a few people have the same tendencies right now. And that is, I've heard this answer from a few people recently before races. And that is, I really screwed up blank leading into the race. Looking back, I can see that blank really, really limited me on race day. And what that blank has either been eating or sleeping. That's screwing up their pre-race meals. They really let their nutrition slide in the few days leading up or while traveling, or they really let their sleep slide and they set themselves up for failure. And I want to take this opportunity to you and I stand here, hold hands at the top of the mountaintop, and call out in unison, false. False. None of that really has to be true. It can be true if you allow it to be true, but it does not have to be true.
I think we get in our own way more than we realize as endurance athletes. It's a heady game. It's a compulsive game. It's an obsessive sport, and then we're hyper analytical of our bodies and we're so in tune, more in tune than the typical person. So then we microanalyze, and that can work mostly to our detriment and very few times in our favor, in my opinion. Right? It's race week. Everything hurts. Of course it does. Like half of it's psychosomatic. I'm not saying I don't deal with it. I deal with it too.
Of course.
But are you saying that because my week went to shit, that it could have gone differently, but I didn't allow it to? Is that the example you're using in this case?
Yeah. What I'm saying is that if
truth be told,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well,
I'll go. I'll go.
Our little delay here
us.
is really allowing us to try to overpolite the other person.
where it feels like awkward flirting, which I'm totally cool flirting with you on air.
And I'm
I
great
prefer
with
it,
awkward.
actually. But what I was going to say, if we talk about, you are great with awkward. If I talk about an imperfect lead in, like I had 4 days away for a family wedding the weekend prior, Thursday through Sunday. Didn't sleep a ton. Everybody's partying, eating like crap, in not my own bed, sleeping not enough. Then I wake up, I get home on Sunday night, wake up on Monday with a sore throat. That progresses. You know, you're right. I didn't eat much on Wednesday and Thursday because I didn't have an appetite. And I'm taking drugs all day. I'm taking ibuprofen during the day just to function, and NyQuil at night to put myself to sleep. I got 4 hours of sleep on race night. All of those things. You're right. So what is your advice then to these people?
Well, I'm going to
would you
stand
like
up
to
here
say to them?
on this mountaintop, not on a soapbox, because a soapbox implies judgment. We're not judging here. We're trying to release you from your chains, because we fall victim to the same exact things. This isn't judgment. It's just explaining to you why you don't need to be held hostage by this. And that is, if your feeding habits leading up to a race, outside of like extraordinarily bad eating, like doing something that would be so nonsensical that no one would even ever do that before a race. So if your eating habits in a day or 2 or 3 leading up to a race cause you to perform worse, it's only because of one of 2 things. You've either allowed them to have that power over you, or you have conditioned your body to accept that as a limiter. Meaning you've gone so long where things have to be perfect, or I won't do my workout, or they have to be perfect, or I have a bad workout, that your body actually will give you a bad performance if you don't check the box correctly with food. Or you've just told your body that it can't perform well off of it, and it just believes you. Those are the only 2 ways that getting off your meal schedule, outside of an allergy or like severe bloating or constipation or diarrhea or something like tragic, outside of that, there's no way that it actually holds sway over your workout unless you've given it that power. And you can take that power back immediately. So that is the first takeaway. The second is that we shout in the fitness industry from the same mountaintop the power and importance of sleep. That the most powerful performance enhancer known to man is sleep. And that is true, but it is over a scale of time that sleep is a performance enhancer. It's about recovery and keeping the ball rolling, and recovery and regeneration. It's not about a 1 day or 2 day window. Once you're awake and your juices are pumping and you've got caffeine and you have adrenaline or whatever your pre-race thing is, your sleep does not matter, and I will die on that hill. I will. It matters over the course of days and weeks and months, but it doesn't matter over the course of a lead into like 2 or 3 days into a race. I truly believe it does not. Some of my best races have come off the worst sleep because some of my best races have been at big races, and you do not sleep well before big races unless you are just really lucky. So no, sleep and food is not an excuse that you need to lean into. You lean away from it. As you like to say, the body does as it's told, and you remove those things as having sway over you. And I firmly believe that. And I don't think we need to use that as an excuse anymore. We need to use it as a reason to be pissed off and race even better. End of rant.
It's not a rant. That's not even, maybe a PSA, but it's just things people need to hear. That didn't feel ranty to me. You've ranted. That wasn't a rant.
A positive.
That was just the truth.
Okay.
Yeah. And 2 things that I think play into this, or that you should remind yourself of, is what I will call the living legend, one of my business partners or coworkers, Stephen Menya. You are what you did 10 days ago. And I don't think there are many truer words in the endurance space than that. You are what you did 10 days ago. Remind yourself of, first of all, 10 days and beyond, like further out from the race, is when the hard work happens, and all the stuff you've done is going to benefit you on race day. Once you get within that 10-day window, it's time to feather off the gas, trust the fitness will be there, and allow yourself to work a little bit, but coast in a bit. You are what you did 10 days ago. And I think physiologically, the way our bodies works, Like there's some magic to that, like the recovery adaptation cycle. So no matter how your lead-in goes, or if you haven't eaten enough or you haven't slept enough, like remind yourself you are what you did 10 days ago. And that should be comforting to know, yeah, I did what I was supposed to. It's going to be there when it needs to, whether I ate well or didn't, or I was restlessly sleeping all week or not. Like you're not going to be punished for all the good things you did leading up to this previously. And then the second thing is, all of that aside, I pulled up my phone on Thursday when I was like, I don't think I'm racing. And I scrolled through my Strava and I clicked on every workout and I said, yeah, you did that workout. I scrolled through, I clicked on, I said, you ran 5:18s for those 2-mile repeats. Like you did that. You didn't feel that good that day. You did that. I went through everything back the last 3 months. I was like, remember everything you did. Even if tomorrow doesn't go that well, like this is still in you. And that's a powerful tool. You used to preach that with the old handwritten logbook. You would say, go back and thumb through everything and remind yourself of the work you did. You deserve to be here at the start line. All the other stuff doesn't matter. That's fact. Those workouts are fact. You did that. That changed you. And so I did that. And that's you going back. I never used to thumb through my old stuff, and I needed it this week to remind myself that I should go give it a chance. And that's powerful. And so I think all the nuances aside, think of those two things, even if things go to shit race week.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of power to that.
Yeah. I've used this phrase with 3 different athletes in the last week. I've told them we have now entered the don't screw it up phase of training. The work is done. Your fitness is here. Like you said, read back through your log. You can't fake your training log. It's there. You've done it. We're in the don't screw it up stage. We're in the don't overreach stage. Don't cram extra work in. Don't read too far into your sleep or your nutrition. Just don't screw it up. If we could take your mind out of your body right now, your body would go out and do well. So don't be the thing that screws this up.
Yes.
And that there's power to realizing that. It's done. 10 days. Don't screw it up.
It's done. Turn your body off, or turn your mind off, turn your body on, so to speak. Turn your body off. Give up. Okay, let's give it 3 minutes. We're recording this on Monday morning, so we don't have all of the Olympic finals and everything done. But a collegiate got through. 2 collegiates got through already. In the steeplechase, the BYU athlete who took 6th at the NCAA finals in the steeplechase, and then 2 weeks later goes forward and takes 3rd in the U.S. Olympic trials. Talk about a turnaround. Now, he doesn't have the A standard,
the
Olympic standard time, so he may get booted, and Evan Jaeger may end up sneaking in. And then Nico Young did it, which we said if somebody's going to pull it off, I said I'd like to see him in the 10K and I'd like to see him go. Nico Young pulled it off. It was fantastic. So good to watch.
Races. Such great races so far. The tactics have been so interesting to watch. I love the point of the race where someone realizes, nope, and then they go for it. And it doesn't always work out, but you realize that someone says, I'm not leaving this in everyone else's hands. I'm going to control my destiny. I'm going out on my sword. And it's really cool to see. And you're seeing some veterans make mistakes in races. And you're seeing some young kids. I don't know if they're running intelligently or if they're just trying to hang along and stay out of the fray long enough, and suddenly they get on tilt towards the end and get some adrenaline pumping and see people fading, and they catch one, and suddenly you're an 18-year-old kid or a 20-year-old kid who's got like all the piss and vinegar in the world. I don't know which one it is, but we're seeing some veterans falter, and the young kids are waiting there, and they are closing down the show. And it's really cool racing to watch.
The number of collegiates in the 1500 final on the men's side, you got 3 Washington kids. No, 2. I think 2 made it through. I think the Oregon kid. So let's make a quick prediction then. The 2 races I think we should try to predict, which are coming up soon. The 3. The women's 800 final, the men's 1500 final, which happens today, and the women's 5K final. Those are all right around the corner. So in the 5K and the women, I think it's Purrier, St. Pierre, and Elise Cranny, no doubt. The question is Carissa Schweitzer going to sneak into third because she's looking good? Is Parker going to pull something out, or does she have no extra gear? Like Parker's going to get left without a prayer. Who's going to go? What do you think?
That third position really, really confuses me because watching the rounds, all the veterans looked really good and the young kids looked kind of like crap.
So good.
So I don't know. I'm going to say a vet gets it. I'm going to say it's going to be 3 vets make it. No rookie there. I'm changing my original pick.
Yep.
They're too dialed. They're too strong. There's a strength difference, especially on the women's side.
Yes.
Our veteran middle distance and distance runners in the US right now have a strength and a musculature to them that the collegiates haven't why do I screw up that word? The collegians haven't developed yet. And it looks like adult women racing against teenage women. There's a difference. On the men's side, it doesn't look as stark. There's some strong collegians. There are some tiny adult men. It's a mixer there. But on the women's side, our women look right now to be in a different class than the younger women. It's very interesting for me to see. Like, there's a new movement in there, and they're suddenly powerful, dynamic athletes, not just runners. And it's showing in how they're racing. Have you seen that?
Women, muscle doesn't make you slow. That's
No,
all.
it
That's
doesn't.
to sum it up. You look at the best distance runners in the U.S. on the women's side; they're more jacked than some of the men out there running, and they're running with power. They can change gears at the snap of a finger. The only prayer Parker Valby has is if she leads again and strings the field out, and somehow Parker Valby has 1 gear, maybe 2.
Yeah.
The rest of the women have 3 or 4. So she has to run the legs out of them. But if it comes down to a kick, she'll lose by 50 yards, 50 meters. There's no chance. It's the first time I saw a look on her head like, I'm in over my head. And it was kind of fun to see because it's like there's levels to everything, right?
Yeah.
And
she has lived
she has to
such
use her
a
engine if she's going to qualify.
race experience, not a training experience. She's had a ton of injuries, but from a race perspective, she gets what she wants usually. And she got slapped in the face. This is something I never thought of before I had daughters, but it is so cool, Kirk, sitting there with Ayla and Mira and Lisa and watching it. And Ayla goes, dang, look at her arms. You don't hear that about 10K runners in the past or 5K. And she's a ball sport athlete currently. And she's looking at them and goes, dang, like the visuals don't need to matter, but when they're positive, it's a really good thing that they matter. And to have my young daughters looking at them and just thinking they look like dynamic, healthy athletes is such a better image than the one we grew up with as runners.
I could not agree more. They're setting a great example for the young females.
Yes.
And they look like pit bulls out there. They just got their head down. And the 2 best, like Cranny and Purrier St. Pierre, they're not extremely tall with these long, beautiful strides. They're not this like if you were watching them individually, you would say that woman isn't the best in the field based on what the appearance of her biomechanics and yet none of that matters. Little forward lean, let gravity do the work, and just right. Okay. Women's 800. Is it going to be the obvious?
It won't be. I think Mo is rusty. She is not sharp right now. But yeah, I think there is going to be a crowd coming down the home stretch. A crowd.
I'd like to see Wilson get through. She's had a breakthrough year. The blonde woman, I think her last name's Wilson.
Rachel, is that?
Maybe I'm remembering.
She won an indoor meet. I thought so. Anyway, she won her heat last night. Yeah. It took seconds. She looked good.
She looked great. Her thing, and then I think the last one's up for grabs. I don't think it's going to be Raven Rogers. I think it's going to be
Atkins. I think.
And then men's 1500. 1500 tonight.
Cole Hocker has looked like a world beater.
Untouchable.
Unreal.
Yard hasn't even had a race yet. I think it'll be Cole, Yard, and I think Hobbs Kessler is brightening as well right now. I think he has gears that he hasn't even had to use yet. That kid is underrated. I mean, he's proved himself a few times, but I still think he's
Mhm.
underrated. And in a big race like this, like he hasn't been forced to play his hand yet. And I
No.
think he's the sleeper. I wouldn't be surprised if Hob Kessler wins out of the blue.
If he
That's how
stays out
powerful
of
I think that kid is.
traffic, he seems to make his move or to move one step too late and he gets jostled a decent amount. If he stays out
Yep.
of the wash, I think those three are head and shoulders above everyone.
Think one of the Washington kids gets through, or Cooper Tier. He's still, or is Cooper Tier just a step too far behind? It's hard not to root for him.
He could win the whole thing. But if we go on just on the optics so far, those three are world class runners right now.
I think either the Washington kids get through, Wascom, or they
Wascom's
look
out
so good.
already. Isn't he?
I thought both of the kids made it through. Anyways,
Okay,
they
maybe they
closed
did.
so well. They're
Oh
tactically
yeah, Hauser's
just
out.
two Washington kids. Hauser. Oh yeah, Hauser, but he's technically not at Washington anymore. He's graduated on. He's running for Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see one of the Washington kids get through. If it's not those three, I could see a Washington kid sneaking in.
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
I'm excited to have this talk next Tuesday because we need to break down what all happens. We're gonna come prepared this time. I'm gonna have it in front of me. We're gonna dissect it. I think we should do that.
Excellent. Let's do that.
One last question.
Okay, I'm here.
One last question for you is, I've talked a bit about my own racing today. Previously, I've had a spring race or two. Do you have anything on your radar right now? Is there anything on your calendar at the moment?
Yeah, but not for a long time. I'm signed up for the Chicago High Rocks in November. And
Okay, so you got some time.
yeah, my conundrum, it's not really a conundrum. My problem is that High Rocks excites me very little, but I have this overwhelming compulsion to break 60. And so like I need to do that. So what that means is I think I have 21 weeks left now until then. It's just all in on High Rocks. But that's not what I want to do. But it's what I need to do, like at my core.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm focused on right now. And I'm trying to do that while having enough speed sprinkle work to be in touch with a fast ride and a once per week longer grindier hill session to be ready to pivot to that other stuff there. But I'm trying to do this the correct way, not just like try to tack on mass for mass's sake, not to chase lifts, but to try to chase an engine that can run sub 60. So I am fully focused on that right now.
Yeah,
But
so it comes down to engine. You got plenty of time.
Plenty of time, but it feels weird to not be passionate about it.
It sounds like an itch you need to scratch. Like it's something that's gnawing at you that you have to do, whether you feel great about it or not.
And from a coaching perspective, I need to feel this race again. I've done doubles, but it's not the same. And in order to keep my training methods progressing with the sport, I need to do one, and I need to feel an entire build, and I'm due for that.
I respect that. When I was early in my training career, I would experiment with all the nutrition options out there for an entire month. Be like, I'm vegan this month, or I'm carnivore this month, I'm paleo, I'm this. I did them all for a month to know how I'd feel so I could help people that way. And so you're looking at your coaching like prescription the same way, which I respect. I did watch the High Rocks World Champs, and the prospect of doing this sport actually excites me. However, even the World Champs, I found myself fast forwarding through stuff.
Did you?
Like I don't need to watch you for 3 minutes on the ski, or let me get to who comes. Yeah, I don't. I'm sure in person, like watching or participating, very, very different. But I struggle for it to keep me engaged until the end. I don't know why. Do you feel that way or not? Maybe if I watched it live, it would be different. In the playback, I didn't enjoy as much.
I think if they figure out how to have every person's erg screen on the screen and showing what everyone's doing, I think that's enough. They could have a graphic with the little boats going across. My Midwest
Yeah, oh, I
accent came
like
out
that.
on boat. But if they did
Yeah, it
something
did.
like that,
Yeah, it
that
did.
would take care of the only tedious section of the race for me.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Well, I like the High Rocks idea for you, and I've seen you. I've seen you in person a few times recently, and you're jacked. You're strong. You're a manly, beefy man. So you might as well put it to use. All right. Have we rambled long enough?
Indeed, we have, Kirk. Time to cut it.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening to me talk about myself. Keep that to a minimum here these next few episodes. And thanks for the support. The amount of messages I got over this race, felt like I was the athlete and I was being coached by like the running public or people I work with. It was really nice.
Pretty cool.
Overwhelming almost, to be honest with you, about responding. So thank you guys. We will, with that said, I guess we'll catch you next week. I mean, later this week. Friday.
Later this week. Keep watching the trials, people.
Nailed it.